to see what the oil pressure is at, and I guess with yep. The oil in the 1955 Ford. We've been really putting the hours on the backhoe, and I think we're probably around 100 so far on the 1955 Ford 850. And I think what we're going to do, this is still the original engine oil that it came with whenever we first bought it. The oil was really clean. I think the guy just changed the oil in it, so I figured we would just run that. But we've put about 100 hours on it, and it's not super dirty here. It's turning a little brown. It's not bad, really, but you know, this tractor, it has about 40-ish psi of oil pressure, you know, at idle, and I want to try to take care of this thing the best that we can so it doesn't really end up like the 8N, but I figured we'll change the oil on this thing. So first things first, we have to turn the fuel on. To turn the fuel on, you turn this flathead screw right there, counterclockwise a few turns, and that should be good. Next thing, hop up on the tractor. Boy, the seat's getting dusty. Oh. Let's see, put the disconnect, battery disconnect. Let's see, it goes this way, turn that on. Put your foot in on the clutch. That's the shifter. That's in neutral. Give it a little throttle. And the choke is right here. And this is actually a spring-loaded choke, which is kind of interesting. I might not be able to start this with one hand. But you turn the key on here and hit the button. Wow, no choke. Amazing. Make sure we're still in neutral. Let the clutch out. So it has about 35 psi of oil pressure, and we are charging a lot. So what I'm going to do is just let this thing warm up a bit for maybe 5 minutes. Just let it sit here in the barn. It'll be fine. And then we'll drain the oil out of this thing. This will be my first time changing the oil in this, and I'm not an expert, but I've changed oil and equipment and stuff before, so here we go. Love the 850. Isn't she purty? Look at that. So there is the oil drain for the motor, and this is similar to the 8N. You have a 2-inch wide hole, and you change the oil in about 2 seconds. So I get to somehow film this and loosen that. Come on. Who put this drain plug on? Oh. I was not planning on taking a nearly 6-foot piece of pipe here with the adjustable wrench into there to take this drain plug out, but I have tried with all my strength possible to get this drain plug out, and for the life of me, I cannot get this out. So we have to make drastic measures here. This drain plug should not be this tight, I'll tell you what. We're gonna win now. It's coming loose. Oh, jeez. Tell you what. That thing will never get put on that tight again. I don't know how well you guys are going to be able to see this, because I can't get the camera down there real well. Alright. There you go, in, I don't know, 2-3 seconds. There goes 5-6 quarts of oil. And we have a screen in here. Look at that. And I know I should probably be wearing gloves. So I'll tell you what. Chuck Norris or Popeye the Sailor Man, you know, the one that's always eating, what is it, the green vegetable? I forget what it's called at the moment. Oh, that one of those two must have put that drain plug on. So now we get to put the drain plug back in, and actually I'm going to go turn off the filter, get the filter off next, and then put the drain plug in case anything else drains back in. The oil filter is on the left side, and the drain is obviously on the right side of the tractor. And what was it, Popeye or Chuck Norris must have put this filter on. I've already loosened this thing up beforehand. I wanted to make sure, I had to run to Napa and stuff to get oil. And this filter was on incredibly tight. And you only need to put those on hand tight, and that's it. You don't need to go any more than that. Wow, I might actually be able to use the same drain pan to drain the engine oil and to drain the filter. So this was a made in USA filter. I think this is actually a New Holland oil filter that's on here. I can see a Holland right there, something. So I'm not using New Holland filters because I'm just used to doing Napa. You know, I use Napa for stuff. So the Napa filter that goes on the 850 is a 1452. And actually, let me bring you, so that's the new filter. And here's the old one. Do you see any difference? You know, as the gaskets and stuff line up, the threading's the same, so we're going to put this one on. It's pretty close to the steering arm here. I don't think it'll hit it. We'll have to watch that for the first time when we change, or when we take this thing out and use it. So I'm going to clean up around the oil filter there, get all the old oil out, and then you always wet the new O-ring here so that it doesn't stick, and so it doesn't dry out also. So it's really not hard to change the oil on this. 5 quarts of oil. I'm using Pennzoil 1030. We've had really good luck with that stuff. That was $30, and then this was like 15, roughly 15. So for $45, we changed the oil in the tractor. So, you know, I've noticed with the big stuff, with the big tractors here, it definitely costs more to keep these ones running, between, you know, the transmission, rear end, and the engine oil, and, you know, you have coolant, and, you know, a lot of other things that you don't really have with a garden tractor of some sort. So I'm going to wipe that up again, and then we'll put the filter on. Another thing that's a good habit to get into is you should try to prime this filter as best as you can. I really like the ones that go on the machines like this, so that you can prime it, and you know, there's really no air that gets through the motor and stuff that gets pushed through the crankshaft. But these ones that are sideways, you can only fill it about halfway-ish, probably less than that. And I do not like these. The Allis-Chalmers, the D17 is like that, and I do not like those ones, because changing the oil, the oil pump has to fill this entire filter and then pump oil to the motor first, as far as I know. And I like this is the best, this is second best, and this is probably the worst. But it depends on the tractor. So we're going to prime this. Changing the oil is a messy ordeal. And that's probably enough. And obviously I've got oil everywhere. And it's about 90 degrees today, so in other words, it's pretty miserable out here, and high humidity, and we're finally getting some rain. Can you believe it? So that is somewhat filled up. So we just put that on, and I oiled up the gasket. And I'm going to wipe that thing off, and then just hand tighten it. You do not have to crank that down with an oil filter wrench whatsoever. You just need to make sure that it's tight and that there's no leaks, and not super tight. You maybe wipe my hands off again. But it's not difficult changing the oil in this. Oh, that cool breeze feels amazing. Alright, that's tight. So that is good. I know I lost some oil to begin with on the just tilting it over, but I'm going to put the drain plug in, and then we'll fill this thing up with oil. So I'm not going to put this plug back in as tight as the previous person did. I mean, it's going to be tight, but not super tight. So here's the filter. There's like another filter for big chunks, and there's no metal flake or really anything in here, so that's really good. That means that this motor is quite healthy, so I am very happy about that. That's always a good thing. But you can see the oil did need changed, and it's just one of those things, that stuff gets used and you have to change the oil in it. So let's put this thing back in. Actually, let me wipe that first. I try to whenever I change the oil in something, I always try my best to get as much of the old oil out first, and then hopefully, you know, you could go a little bit further with oil changes and stuff. So let's screw this thing in. Now that I have the plug in, we are just going to tighten this a little bit. And remember, it doesn't need to be, it does not need to be super tight. I mean, you want it tight, but not insanely tight where you can't get this thing off the next time. Alright, so now that that is tight, we can fill up the engine oil. And always make sure that you put the drain plug in before you do this step. Don't ask me how I know that. So in case anyone doesn't know, this is the dipstick for the tractor, and this right here, that is where you put the oil in, and this is the crankcase breather. So we put the motor oil in there, and I got the filter on, and I have the drain plug in. So now time to pour. There's about 4 quarts in here, and tractor data says that this tractor takes 5, if I remember correctly, but always fill it up, run it, and then check the dipstick, because, you know, the filter will take some oil also. So let's fill this thing up.
I was wondering if we should put some Lucas heavy-duty oil stabilizer in this tractor, but, you know, being that it has 35-ish pounds of oil pressure, we figured we didn't really need it.
Now that we have all of the oil in, I'm going to check it and see where we are at on the dipstick. And we need to add more. Wow, that is some clean oil. Oh, actually, yeah, we need to put some more in. So I'm probably going to put another quart of oil in this, and then we will see where we're at there. So I added in another quart, and we are overfilled a little bit. It's always a good idea to check everything, check for leaks, and see how things are going. Check your oil pressure gauge and stuff, you know, to see what the oil pressure is at. And I guess without further ado, let's fire this tractor up again and check for leaks and see what the oil pressure is like. The fuel is on. Give it a little throttle. Put the clutch in. Make sure we are in neutral. And we are. Turn the key. Oh, gotta hit the battery disconnect. Turn that on. Turn this on and hit the button. And hopefully this thing will fire right up. Yep. Let's check for leaks. And there doesn't seem to be any. He doesn't even smoke. So there you go. So there is changing the oil in the 1955 Ford 850 farm tractor. So I hope everyone enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more. And hopefully we will see you all in the next video. Thanks for watching. The next tractor for an oil change, the mighty D17.